And hello, I'm John Bachman. Embattled Congressman Aaron Schock is resigning from his seat over allegations that he misused campaign and public funds. Question first surfaced after the Illinois Republican decorated his office with lavish and expensive items in the style of the TV show Downton Abbey. Schock is also facing heat for failing to disclose several trips with or for friends and staffers where he allegedly spent taxpayer money on things like private planes. A spokesperson says Schock will leave office at the end of the month. Also new this afternoon, a U.S. Air Force veteran is now charged with trying to help ISIS. The Justice Department says a federal grand jury in New York has indicted Tyrod Nathan Webster Pugh on 2 counts of trying to help the terror group. The DOJ says Pugh also tried to provide material support for ISIS. He's charged with obstruction of justice as well. Pugh served as a mechanic while in the Air Force. He is scheduled to be arraigned tomorrow morning. And as promised, House Speaker John Boehner chimes in on the Hillary Clinton email scandal. He says the former Secretary of State should turn over her personal email server over to a neutral third party.
I think this is the fairest way to make sure that we have all the documents that belong to the public and ultimately all the facts.
Well, Speaker Boehner says the American people deserve to know all the facts about what happened in Benghazi, that attack took place on September 11th, 2012. In a recent interview with Vice News, President Obama says voters will force the GOP to change its views on climate change.
Climate change is an example of the hardest problems to solve. The hardest thing to do in politics and in government is to make sacrifices now for a long-term payoff.
Well, the president specifically slammed GOP senators like James Inhofe from Oklahoma, who denies that climate change exists. And tonight, Missouri plans to execute a brain-damaged man convicted of killing a sheriff's deputy. Almost 10 years ago, Cecil Clayton shot the deputy in the head after the officer responded to a call that Clayton was trespassing. But Clayton's attorneys argued he became brain-damaged after an incident lodged a piece of wood into his skull. They say he is not fit to be executed. His lawyers have appealed the case before the U.S. Supreme Court, seeking a block to his execution. An eccentric millionaire, Robert Durst, will stay in a New Orleans jail after police found marijuana and a gun on him when he was arrested over the weekend. That marijuana tidbit, newly released information today. Durst was jailed over the weekend in connection with a killing that took place 15 years ago. His lawyers insist he is innocent, and they say they didn't know who Susan Berman was.
That having been said, my concern is that the warrant that was issued in California was issued because of a television show and not because of facts.
I should say Durst didn't know who Susan Berman was. Durst's attorney says they are ready to go to trial. This comes after Durst was caught uttering what sounded like a confession during that HBO show. We'll have another Newsmax Now update coming up for you in 30 minutes. We'll now send it up to the Steve Malzberg Show that has the latest on the Hillary Clinton email scandal and much more right after this.